And let's see.
I'm
Setting up
showing
your
we're
webinar
live.
for
Yeah.
YouTube Live. Done. Oh, now we have an ad. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And we're live. Okay, it's good. It's muted. That's a good thing. And hi, everybody. I'm Steve Sande. And with me, of course, is I'm trying to think of a great term for him, but the
Guy.
very wonderful
Mm.
sidekick here, or who knows, actually, maybe I'm the sidekick. We're
No, I'm just,
sidekicks.
yeah.
But Marty Edwards, Marty, how are you doing?
Doing great. Some Apple news to report and start maybe talking a little bit about holiday gift ideas and some
Yeah.
online shopping.
Yeah, I thought that would be a really good kind of an idea for tonight, or some things that um, might be good gifts. If you're sitting around and you're going, I haven't got the slightest idea what to give to my wife, my husband, my son, my daughter, my uncle, my boss, whatever. We've got some ideas here. So,
And they'll probably be Apple related.
yeah, actually, some of them will be Apple related. I actually have one item that I'm going to bring up during this that has to do with the old discussion we've had about um, playing with my other second screen here and trying to find the live feed on my iPad, and it's not working. But anyway, what I was going to say is I've got some ideas here for people who are like me, possibly thinking about cutting the cord and not paying Comcast or Time Warner or whoever that company may be as much money as you normally do. So
And we can talk
this,
about it from two aspects because we are already cord cutters.
yes, you are. You lucky person, you.
Well, we first cut the cord in 2010, so it's been quite a while.
Been going for a few years there. Yeah, I tell you, if I act completely out of it tonight, uh, you talk about probably one of the most frustrating days or weeks in a long time for both my wife and I. We've been enjoying navigating our wonderful American healthcare system,
Hmm.
and on my side of the table here, it's been my father went into the hospital, ended up having a pacemaker installed, stuff like this. When people get to be quite elderly, what we found is uh, the system is really set up to kind of scam Medicare for as much money as possible, and we're seeing that right now. We're trying to get Dad home to an assisted living place, and they're kind of like steering him towards rehab. And he's got to be in a certain type of facility, and he has to have a certain level of care, and that would be fine. But some of the places they're looking at are halfway across Denver, and I'm not going to drive that day in and day out. And so I pretty much said, you're going to find a local place, and you're going to find a good local place, and you're going to do it, or you're going to return him to his home. So this is going to be fun. My wife retired. We've talked about that before on previous shows. And what we found is that large American corporations, and I'm talking companies with many, many tens of thousands of employees, tend to not do their own benefits programs. Basically, what they do is they outsource it to a third party. And I've got to admit that these companies are truly low-cost providers, which means they are the lowest bidders. And so far, we were supposed to have healthcare, dental care, vision plan, everything set up on December 1st. Still don't have it set. So if my wife cores out after being stressed by these idiots in the healthcare system, and we have to send her to the hospital, we're not covered right now because of the ineptness of these third-party companies. And I could go on for weeks on this, but I won't. Instead, sorry about that, but like I said, I'm frustrated right now. So let's get to something that is really fun and really exciting, and let's talk about things that people may want to buy as Christmas gifts for their friends or family. And do you want to go first, or you want me to go first? Or
I think one of the best, but you're probably not going to be able to get it. I think because it is so popular. Seems like people are really buying the Apple TV.
Wow.
Because you can get the entry level one for $179, but for me, the double the RAM or storage for only $20 more, I'd go with that, $199. But they're out of stock until like January the 4th or so.
No kidding?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's depressing.
You go to the Apple, store app and try to buy it. It says it ships January 4th, so don't even look for that for a Christmas present. So,
wow. Well, that's depressing because that was one of the things I was going to buy for ourselves, so we could get to the cord cutting phase of our lives here. But I guess that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, I'm checking here. Oh, yeah, I really do like it. They had the update that addressed the problem that we were having. You remember, it would send video. It would always force 4K and HDR regardless of what the source was. So it didn't always look good. And that was well documented on some well-known business sites. It did do that. So they addressed that this week. You can tell the Apple TV to always broadcast in the native resolution. And that really, will help a lot of those. I'm looking on the Apple app right now, and to get to 32 gigabyte, I'm just seeing here the delivery on it is order today, delivers Wednesday, December 13th. So that's not bad. So I stand corrected. And
that's for the 32 gig.
That's 32. Let me see the 64 here, what it says regarding it. So hopefully you've got it.
No,
4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's showing right here. I could pick it up on January 19th at the Apple Aspen Grove store. Wow.
Wow, that's we're looking good 5 to 6 weeks the way they say it here.
Well, so much for getting that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering. I don't know, really, how much of an issue it would be getting the 32 gig version. You've got the 64, right?
I do, for only $20 more, but I don't see me ever using it. I've hardly downloaded any apps. I just use a few core ones, YouTube, ESPN, but not very much, mostly YouTube. And I do a lot of AirPlay from the phone or Mac over there, mostly phone. And I think most people are going to be fine with the 32. And so
and if I can get it this week, well, actually, that kind of leads me to my first gift suggestion for the month. And this actually came from a guy who has followed, kind of the 2 days to Apple World Today. And he's a, really good person in terms of giving us hints and tips on different things. Guy by the name of Michael Babiak. And Michael, just last week, I think I was talking about, the fact that I had finally pulled the trigger there, and I got myself an order on Amazon for a digital TV antenna, because I know there were, at least for the local stations, that was going to be a really kind of easy way to do it. Well, no sooner had I done that, I mean, literally seconds after I pushed the button on Amazon and got the thing that said, hey, your order is in, and hey, we're ready to ship, because apparently it was in stock, and guy must have been standing there right next to a box and had one and dropped it into the box. That Michael came up with this thing, and he said, you really ought to take a look at this. It's called, I've got to make sure I've got the name right. It's called Watch Air. And you can actually find it, I think it was on watchairtv.com. Now, what this is it takes a digital TV antenna, and then it actually, inside that box or inside the antenna there, it actually can stream to like an Apple TV or Chromecast or, you know, any of these other devices, or it can actually go to an iOS app as well. For the fourth generation and the previous generation Apple TV, or fourth generation and the fifth generation, I should say, there's actually a tvOS app that lets you, you know, basically you can get all of your other channels through Apple TV, and then you can fire up this app and you can watch your local TV stations. So it's $69, which is ridiculously inexpensive, because it also acts as a DVR for your local channels. So I was totally impressed about this after he told me about it. I looked at it, I asked him some questions, and I said to myself, you know, maybe this isn't a bad idea. You know, especially being able to beam directly to from this thing to a Apple TV app. That means we've got one device, that Apple TV remote, that we can use to really kind of control everything that we need to do watching TV. So I haven't ordered it yet. Haven't pulled the plug on, you know, or flipped the switch on going ahead and doing that. But it looks like a pretty cool little device. And as soon as I get it and test it and give it a try, I'll be sure to let everybody know how it worked, if it worked, you know, if it worked the way I thought it was going to. And of course, in order to really get the best use out of it, I'm going to have to get an Apple TV 4K first. So I think that'll be probably my first purchase is the Apple TV 4K, probably 32 gigs, and then I'll get Watch Air.
I was looking at it there as you were talking about. It looks pretty impressive, and the fact it records as well.
Yeah, it can take up to a 2 terabyte, if you can find one that big, but a 2 terabyte micro SD card, and essentially uses that as expandable storage for whatever you want to do. So if you happen to, like my wife and I, be real fans of, you know, some police procedurals that happen to show on here locally on a network that's called Ion Television. And so let's say I wanted to record every episode ever of CSI, the original CSI. I could do that. And that's kind of a cool thought that you could do something like that. And then you've got them for, you know, future reference if you really want to watch them. If you really want to cut the cable, you know.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I think Apple TV would be a good gift, but you'll have to go with the 32 gig right now. As long as we're talking about gifts, I'll go the other end of the spectrum. I saw on our own website. It's actually where I first learned it, was on Apple World Today. And actually, I just saw it a while ago. I've been a little, I won't say out of pocket. I thought I was going to be a little late for the broadcast. Today was my mother's 87th birthday. So always having a little cake and stuff and doing a lot of
Happy
things.
birthday.
So I haven't read a lot of tech news in the last. Yeah, I'll pass it to her there. And so we were doing some things. I hadn't read any tech news much for a few hours. And I sat down, pulled up Apple World Today, and saw that the rumors are that the iMac Pro will be shipping December 18th. That warmed my heart and credit card both. And so we'll see.
One week before Christmas Day, so it might actually be sitting under your tree.
I can't let it sit there. It'll go right to the desk.
Good man. Put it to use.
We'll see. There are some questions. I mean, I've read everything I can about it, But it's written by our own Dennis Sellers. A handful of enthusiasts have taken to Twitter and report that Google, now Wikipedia, are claiming Apple will unveil the iMac Pro on Monday, December 18th.
Wow.
And so I wonder, and I'm sure it will, being the Pro, since the last round of iMacs did, if it'll have the little hatch in the back where I can add memory, like from Otherworld Computing, order some. Because it comes standard with 32, which is a lot, 32. Well, I wouldn't mind 64.
Or 128.
Yeah, I might as well.
256.
Their memory's not too bad. But my use is going to be a lot of virtual machines. I really enjoy running older copies of Windows and Linux and other things. And a lot of people might not realize, if you own a Mac, of course, there's the only way you can run a copy of Mac OS in your Mac. The license will let you do virtual machines. And so if you want to test a piece of Mac software without installing it on the main machine, just fire up a virtual machine. So that's where a lot of memory is going to help. But anyway, we'll know more. I actually had seen the rumors ahead of time that they thought it might be bumped till next year. But it looks like they may go ahead and make it. So,
yeah, I hope they do. I really, really do, because, Apple's had a couple of, well, of course, we spent most of the week last week talking about that. Really, the company seems to have had a couple of fumbles lately, and it would really be nice for them to, kind of exit 2017 on a high note with a new flagship desktop machine. And then, of course, we expect in 2018 that they're going to be coming out with the Mac Pro, the revised Mac Pro. But I tell you, if you take a look at the 27-inch 5K Retina iMac that you've got right now, you throw into that an incredible amount of power and all Thunderbolt 3 and all this other good stuff that, has come out over the past few years. I can't see why somebody wouldn't go out of their way to get the iMac Pro over a Mac Pro. And the reason I say that is, you can expand it externally if you need really powerful graphics processing unit. We've got the external boxes now. You can throw a graphics card in there and life is good. You've got an absolutely terrific screen. In the main machine itself. You don't need to buy another monitor to sit alongside of it. But the one question you did have there about expandability is a good point. I think I remember that they were saying you could expand it up to ridiculous amounts, like 512 gigs. But I may be out of my mind.
It's definitely trying to think how much you can, get in it ahead of time. Of course, you can put Apple's memory in it, but as it's, ridiculously priced.
Pricey.
And I'm just looking up here a little bit about it. It is an expensive machine, but I tend to keep computers and just use them quite a while. So I'm looking in our broadcast 2 weeks from tonight. I'm hoping we'll have some info to talk about it. Right now, what they're already saying, it starts out base with an 8-core processor, 810 or 18. Looking here, of course, it talks about the graphics and the speed and the memory. I won't read all the details here. Okay, it comes up to 128 gig of RAM.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
That's a lot. Yeah,
it's a little bit more than and I have in this MacBook.
Yeah. It comes with 4 microphones and 4 speakers. So it ought to really be good for, if I have it, the broadcast here, probably wouldn't even have to use headphones with the 4 microphones, I would expect. Yeah. I'd be glad to try it out. So, I'm not going to probably pull the trigger the first day. As long as I got something, I generally wait until flames come out. Last time on one of my Windows machines, I literally did. I was sitting across the room. I saw a fire shoot out of it. And a capacitor just blown. And so I had the side off. Something caught my attention as a bright glow in the computer, just a quick flame. So, but that would be a good gift. So that's the 2 high end of Apple things, Apple TV and the iMac Pro. And so you had mentioned the Mac Pro. I will say this, and I'm sure you know, but everybody's saying 2018, and what Apple actually said would be after this year. I don't think they ever said 2018. You might correct me if I'm wrong, but they
You
just
are
gave
absolutely
after
correct.
2017.
Yeah.
And everybody's assuming 2018 and probably will be, but they've covered themselves.
Yeah, so they could go into 2020, 2022. And then
I don't think they'll do that, and I'm hoping it'll be this year. I don't want to get off our gift ideas, but we were talking about Apple's had some trouble with software, and our program was dedicated to that last week. But since then, we had a biggie. I woke up, during the night, Friday night, and I woke up about 3 a.m., checked my phone, and I saw an update for iOS. And so I thought, this is some tweet that came in late for the previous. But no, it was current. It was a new version number. I couldn't hardly believe it. It was like 3:20 a.m. So I went ahead and checked for updates, and sure enough, there's that date bug,
Well, I tell you, that was timely. Let's put it that way. I don't know if you've been checking out the commentary going on, and we have a kind of you could almost call it not a chat room, but almost our virtual office in Slack. And I've been trying to get some money to Dennis. Dennis is kind of the partner,
Dennis,
my partner.
Not to me, so I just want
yeah, not to you. Sorry. This poor guy still doesn't get paid. You people need to step up to the plate and really make it so we can pay him for his time here.
There's no pressure. I like being a volunteer. Trust me, I've been paid more ways than one. A lot of good reviews, equipment. They say, I just keep it.
Yeah. But
y'all have had a rough time getting money to Dennis. Should just send him a check.
Well, it was kind of funny because we actually had a wonderful process in place. And my bank had this, you can pay anybody. You put in this information, and on the other end, they would, do some, get onto this one website and do some stuff. And for literally probably 2 years, we've been using this system where I would go into my bank's website and I'd say, transfer X number of dollars to Dennis. And I'd put a note in there as to, what it was for or whatever. Boom, it would get sent to him and it would show up in his bank account. So no work at all, just great. Well, my bank went to a slightly different system called Zelle, Zelle, and they just did that recently. And Zelle is apparently really big in the bank transfer, personal transfer business. So they figured, we're going to get ahead of the crowd here. We're going to go ahead and go with Zelle. The only problem is that Dennis's bank doesn't support Zelle, nor do they have plans on doing it in the near future. So we were talking about, how do we do this? Should I just send you a check, or is there going to be some other way to do it? And I said, dang, it's really too bad that iOS 11.2 isn't out here, because then I could just send you a text, and in that text you'd have payment, work out just great. So we were looking at a workaround through, the Square app. Square has a service called Square Cash, where you can send money pretty much to anybody else. But they have, once again, set up Square Cash with a debit card so that they can transfer that information over to the debit card, which then goes into the bank. So pain in the rear. And we were just about ready to pull the trigger on that, and 11.2 came out. So today, we actually got to try it. I was actually at lunch, eating lunch. Barb and I went to a Christmas party for retirees, which was actually pretty fun. But sat down, and I'm sitting there, and right in the middle of lunch, I'm thinking, oh crap, I still need to send that money to Dennis. Pulled up messages, and I had, I've got a kind of an open message for him, and I went in there and I said, I'm going to send you X number of dollars and X number of cents. Tapped on that, Apple Pay comes up and says, send X number of dollars, X number of cents. I, tapped or hit send. It comes up, asked me which account I wanted to take that from that I had pre-set up. It was a debit card that's associated with my one other service. Went boom, and there it went. And I said, let me know if this works. Sure enough, like 5 minutes later, I got a text message from Dennis. Thumbs up, I got the money. So it is as easy as they say. You may have a little bit of setup to do, especially for transferring money out to a bank if you want to do that. But, the other thing to think of is if you have a lot of businesses around that accept Apple Pay, you can also use the Apple Pay cash card, which is where all your money kind of goes to sit around for a while. But you could use that to make Apple Pay purchases too. When you receive money, you can just spend it immediately. So very cool, really worked well. I think Apple's going to have a big winner in that one because, once people get to using it and understand how easy it is to send money to friends, relatives, businesses, boom, it's done. Really cool.
I haven't tried it yet. Of course, my wife's showed up yesterday a little early that it was available for her, and I think mine showed up this morning, maybe late last night. I haven't, we did not set it up yet. Now, if I understand correctly, if you use a debit card, there's no fee to the,
that's correct.
Sender, I guess, but 3% if it's a credit card.
Yeah, and I, being the cheap person that I am, no, not cheap, thrifty, I decided that I would attach that to a debit card that I've got. So there is a little kind of a weird process. Instead of just going to my bank website and saying, here, let's go ahead and do this, I now have to write myself a check, deposit that check with Simple. I don't know if people are familiar with Simple, but it's really an online bank. But I deposit with Simple. I've got a debit card from Simple that's tied to Apple Pay. So it'll still take about a day and a half for the process to go through, but it works, and I just can't wait to start. Maybe one of these shows we can do kind of like the Jerry Lewis telethon, and we can just say, here are our down at the bottom of the screen we can do what they call a lower third, and we can say, text money too.
Exactly. That's pretty neat. I'm glad it worked. And so they did push out the update early because if anyone didn't see, it was a strange bug. A lot of people's phones were rebooting every 30 seconds starting at 12:15 a.m. December 2nd. Some obscure bug with if you had some kind of recurring alarm set up or appointments. Right?
Was that weird?
Yeah, I know. It didn't affect either one of us. I have a lot of things set up, but it never did affect. It was hard for people because they had a window of 30 seconds that they had to get in, disable, their alerts to try to get control of their phone again. So these are really some major bugs.
Yeah, just one after another the last week. I bet Apple's going to feel, corporately kind of the same way that Barb and I will feel if we actually, we keep escalating this healthcare issue. And we got to some guy who's a manager at this one company, and he says, well, I will have this resolved tomorrow. Well, we've heard this before, for the past 4 or 5 days. It's been, oh, yeah, well, no problem. You'll have your benefits. Life will be good. Things are so wonderful. Even this morning, we had a person who said, I am going to fax to you proof that you have coverage. And, we gave him a fax number over at the local FedEx office store about a mile away. Never showed up.
Well, yeah, that's frustrating, to try to do. And so everything. Speaking of the gifts, before we forget that, I saw today, as I'm sure many did, you can now purchase an iPhone, see them free off Apple's site.
Oh, nice.
So if you have a family member you don't have to worry about what carrier they're with, just buy iPhone and hand it to them.
Yeah, I wish they would do that on day one of the the new phones coming out, because um, given that my wife and I do quite a bit of international travel, I got a SIM from this one company, and I'm sorry, but I just can't remember the name right now. But the great thing about it is I can put that in my iPhone, and I can kind of go to their website and say I want 2 gigs of data every day while I'm in Brazil, whatever it happens to be, and it works. You're basically roaming in whatever that country is on several different carriers. And, once you're out of the country, you pull it out, or if you happen to go to another country that they cover, you can continue the service. And it works with most other phones as well, where you can just yank it out and, pop their SIM in. The cool thing is, though, it just seems like it's a little bit easier to use their international SIM in a device that's SIM-free in the first case. So don't know why, but my iPhone 7 Plus was SIM-free, oddly enough.
Well, I had, the day that they went on sale, I got on at 2 a.m. here and tried to purchase an iPhone SIM-free, but I couldn't. I had to have an account with one of the big four carriers, which I don't. We have a regional carrier.
Boo.
And I was hoping to just buy one and put SIM in. I guess they do that so not, people don't get on and order 10 iPhones and then just resell them to whomever. And so that's probably the reason they don't offer SIM-free on day one. But of course, I don't know. So have you got any other gift ideas?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Let's see. I kind of went through the Watch Air, and next one I'm actually using right now. And this has been a product that it's actually came out in its original version a couple of years ago. And it's from a company called 10-1 Design. And the original product was called the Mountie. This is now the Mountie Plus. And if you can take a look at the back of this, you can see that really what the idea is that you can take pretty much any Mac screen and you can attach an iPad or iPhone to it. And I always found the original to be almost useless, especially if you tried putting anything about the size of an iPad on it. Pretty soon it was leaning over and having problems. And occasionally I would actually have it fall off. Well, right now I've got sitting in front of me my Mac Pro. Right over here I have an iPad Pro 10.5 inch. And from what I understand, this works very well with the 12.9 inch as well. But it's just sitting right next to that. So I've got a nice dual screen setup. The cool thing is you can use some of the available apps that are out there, like Duet, and actually use this as a second screen for a MacBook Pro. This, like I said, it is surprisingly powerful compared to the original. And I just got this for review a couple of days ago. I've been working with it. Absolutely think they knocked it out of the park with this. The Mountie Plus is $34.95. And if you ever need to work with any Mac, not just something like a MacBook or MacBook Pro, but maybe even an iMac, and you want to put a 12.9 inch iPad Pro off to the side, this is going to do it for you. Very well done. Like I said, $35. It's a deal. And that's 10-1, TENONE design.com. And you can find that, the Mountie Plus.
Well, I'll tell you what, since I'm trying to look here, you've gone with a pretty inexpensive gift idea. I've got a couple I'm going to mention here real quick. And it's a couple of things I bought off Amazon that are actually for iPhone that are pretty affordable and I find extremely useful. So let me share that screen over there because I got these right off Amazon here. So I'll pull up my order history. I'm glad you'd mentioned about doing this because I think these are some good gift ideas that would help. I'm trying to look at the price of this one. Let me share my screen over there, not my phone screen this time. Get the right one. Okay. Ordered this. It looks like a standard clock radio. And it is. It's got a really nice display. I got it was $20. It was originally $60, and then it had gone down to like $30, and they've had a special 2 or 3 times, $20. We have an Amazon credit card where we get points back and had some points built up. So just bought it with the points, $20 and some cents. But if you'll look, there's a lightning connector right on the back. And let me see if I can zoom in. There you go. You see that there. You see the lightning connector. So you just set your iPhone or iPad. You see it's got a tray that you set your iPad in. And so I will say this, it won't hardly sit on there with cases on, but I've got an iPad. I never have a case on. I just walk by and I drop it on there, start charging it, back up to iCloud or whatever it needs to do. And if you look on the front, it's a couple of really nice speakers, so you can play your iTunes music right through it. So, and you don't have to worry about setting the clock. When we first got it, it had like 12 o'clock. As soon as I set the iPad, pardon me, a little coughing spell there. As soon as I set the iPad on it, it set the time perfectly. So it always synchronizes the time to like your iPhone or iPad, which sets it through the network. So it's always accurate. And it's got 7 levels of brightness. My wife was talking about the clock radio we had was really too bright. It's on her side of the bed, and it was really disturbing her at night. So we got this one, and we put it like on level 2 or 3. And it's absolutely perfect. You see a phone sitting there. And that base on the back is more than enough to hold your iPad. So that
I was going to say this may be the way I can finally get Barb to get rid of her like 25-year-old Sony digital clock radio that doesn't work very well anymore.
As you see up at the top, I purchased it on November 2nd. And so that's
been and you can sell yours for a gift card.
Yeah, sure can. But
that is cool.
That's really a keeper. And on the back, you have the power cord, auxiliary cable. That may be for headphones or if you had other speakers, but it has a USB port. So if you wanted to charge something,
like an Apple Watch.
Yeah, exactly. It has USB. So really, you've got 2 charging options: USB port, lightning cable, a really nice display, and it also has the date on it. And for $20, that was a no-brainer. It's actually made by Amazon. We both really like it a lot. So,
wow.
So
I give that a double thumbs up.
Yeah. So I'm glad I thought of that. A good idea. Let me mention one other thing that I bought here. Let me stop screen sharing just a moment while I go back and look through my orders. I don't want to show everything I've ordered. And my wife might be watching.
Oh, come on. We want to see. We want to see all the embarrassing things you've ordered over the years.
Let's see. This is back a little bit further. Okay, if you're looking for a basic case for your iPhone, I was wanting just a super basic case. And let me share this screen over here. And I didn't know how well it was going to work. So, okay, I'm not sharing it. Okay, I tend to like these because I do have the jet black iPhone, so I like these crystal clear cases. They sort of show off the cover or the color really well. And I'll be honest, I had bought Spigen. I've got a Spigen. I guess it's how you pronounce it, around here somewhere. But we've had it for about a year, and I had a lot of trouble with air bubbles on the back, and we would have to remember how you had to do Tupperware, burp it out.
Yeah.
We'd have to do that, and it began to really turn yellow around the corners. And, of course, we'd had it a year. And so I told her, I said, I want to buy 2 more cases for us. And we both did keep our iPhone 7s. So I found this one and got pretty good reviews. And so as you can see there, it's got 1,210 reviews and all pretty positive.
Wow. Yeah.
And so,
For like 4.5 stars.
yeah, and the case is $5.89. And
Sheesh.
I believe it's the best case I've ever had on the phone. Look at the reinforced corners, and that's what I've got on my phone right now, and a good cutout for the dual camera and the flash and microphone, and nice buttons there. And we neither one using it a month and a half, or nearly 2 months now. Ordered it on October 6th, so we've been using it about 2 months. Have never had any bubbles at all. And so it's,
Nice.
for $5, we're talking a McDonald's meal.
Yeah.
So
Less than McDonald's. Come on.
yeah,
This is, they probably give these away in Happy Meals now.
you can see it there, and you can get different colors. I got the crystal clear, but you see the others that you can get as well through here. And so that's a
Nice.
couple of little gifts that you could give for people using iPhones. And just to show, it's on the back of my phone now. And this will be a good way to show. As you see, I got some fingerprints from handling it. There's no eye bubbles. That's the new Apple bug that'll be out this week. You have
Eye
eye
bubbles.
bubbles under your well, I tell you what, I've got iPhone on the brain, don't I? Eye bubbles. But there's no air bubbles in it whatsoever. You see the reinforced corners of it that I was talking about. And it's really, really a nice case. I just never have any air bubbles. And so whenever I do
Nice.
get fingerprints, I usually take just a little bit of alcohol or something, or water. But I like using alcohol if I've been out, so sanitize it a little and wipe it off.
Yeah.
It's super clean. And then on the front, everything is, just barely enough it keeps you can easily access your home button. And I love the stronger corners and everything. So anyway, that'd be a couple of gift ideas. So those together, you're talking less than $30, about $25.
Wow. Or that could be stocking stuffers, literally,
Exactly. That
yeah.
case for sure. If anyone, I think it said this case fits the iPhone 8 as well, plus iPhone 7 plus, iPhone 8 plus. And so, that's just I thought a really nice case. We both have been very pleased. And Spigen makes nice cases, but air bubbles were really a problem. I'm sure this one will go after a while, but we've had no trouble with the bubbles.
It's funny you bring that up. One of the cases for the iPhone 10 that I looked at here a while back had that same problem where actually it was right near the Apple logo. It was a clear case, but right near the Apple logo, it got this just weird, bubbly looking, thing in there. And it was almost impossible to get out of there. And so that particular case, I just said, not for me. I'm going to go with something else. And right now I've been using this one. It's getting a little scratched up, I noticed, and I probably ought to clean it a little bit. But this one is, if you look at it from the front, just looks like a regular case. In the back, it's got a up in the top area, you can actually see the Apple logo and dirt and some scratches. Down below, it's got a nice leather pad. And another one, not super expensive. Nomad makes some really good cases. And the prices are pretty reasonable. I can't remember the name of this particular one, but like I said, if you go out and just look for Nomad iPhone cases, I'm sure you'll find it out there. Or we had a review of 4 other different cases on Apple World today.
Well, it actually made me chuckle a little bit. I was looking over this while you were talking on the. Before I forget it, people, in case they don't know, it's the MoCo, MoKo, crystal clear. And but what made me chuckle a little bit, I was just looking there while you were talking. It says reliable protection for your precious phone.
Precious, my precious.
Exactly. And so I put that back up there if anybody was interested, because $5.89 free shipping. I mean, that's if you got iPhone 7 plus or 8 plus, we both really like those cases.
That's almost like giving away a case at that
I
price.
know
That
it.
is
And it
incredible.
really is a quality case. I mean, it's already gone 2 months without an air bubble, no yellowing, $5 already. So, but if anyone's just dropping in now, rewind and see about that clock radio. You can probably catch it for $20 because I've seen it, and it originally sold for $60. And I tell you where I learned about it. There's another Apple site, 9 to 5. Mac has one called 9 to 5 Toys that I check every day. They always have sales of iPhone related stuff, and that's where I found it on there. So
sweet. Occasionally there are just gems out there that you find and you go, wow, it's inexpensive. It works well. It looks good.
Yeah.
Hey, talking of inexpensive gifts that would be just absolutely perfect for anybody with a Mac. I've been a real fan of Backblaze, which is a cloud backup service, literally since almost the time that they started up. And I've never had a problem with them. The fascinating thing about Backblaze is that if you pay for a year of their cloud backup service in advance, it's $50. If you pay monthly, it's $5 a month. So, very inexpensive service. What you do is you sign up for the account, sign up for the service, download their app for Mac, put it on your Mac or Windows machine or Linux box or whatever you happen to be running there. And then you log in to your Backblaze account on that app. Almost immediately, it goes in and, there's a lot of encryption that takes place as your data is going out to the cloud backup service. But then it begins to back up your Mac. Now, if you've got tons of data like I do, it can take, maybe a month for the backup to be complete. At the end of that time, though, everything you do, every change you make is pretty much being mirrored to Backblaze. So you always know that you've got a very, very current backup that's out there in the cloud. If anything, if your house happens to get nuked or whatever and you need to get your data back, a couple of different ways you can do that. You can either log in from another computer and actually, just say, well, I just need these data files right now that are very important to me. Have them turned into a big zip file and download that zip. Or as an alternative, they will, for a fee, take a disk drive, 2 terabyte drive or whatever it happens to be, dump all that information onto the drive, and then send it off to so you get that data ready to go in the, as quickly as possible. It's going to be very, very fast getting it back. So Backblaze.com is the website. I have used them for years. My wife has used them for years. It's literally a backup service that you don't have to think about because it's just doing its job. Highly, highly recommended.
They had a booth at the Jamf conference. So
good folks. Seriously, I've tried some of the other services that are out there, and I won't name them, but seriously, I've probably tried every cloud backup service that's out there and available right now. Backblaze, without a doubt, is the best I've found. So, highly recommended by Steve.
I am familiar with them. I forgot to tell on that clock radio. It has an FM radio. I forgot to throw that in. So it is a radio.
So it really is a clock radio.
Yes, it is. So
hey, speaking of Jamf, I was going to mention. I think I did mention last week. I was on a podcast, Mac Voices, with a guy from Jamf. So it was fun running into him. He's their, one of their PR people, I think. So it was kind of fun chatting with him.
we're talking about getting the gifts. If we've got time, I thought I might highlight my two favorite shopping apps.
Oh, do
that
that
I
would be
have.
good.
So let me just it always, talk and entertain our guests while it takes a minute. I have to do a movie to put the phone on the screen.
I'll do,
But maybe it's best that
shadows.
you don't. uh, let me
Well, I could
get,
go on another rant about healthcare,
well, I about got this ready. So,
oh, go for it.
but just a moment here. Yeah, last week, reason I had a little bit of trouble, it did not trust my iPhone for some reason. They had become untrusted during that. Okay, I've got the iPhone hooked up, so let me
I'm looking
share.
at a cat over here in case you're wondering why I was looking off to the side. There we
Okay,
are.
all right. Down at the bottom, Walmart and Amazon. I use those heavily. Amazon probably needs no introduction. We were just on their site. And of course, you just go into Amazon. And my wife and I share an account. So I'm always getting her recommendations of books. She's getting my recommendations. Amazon is just a super handy app. I guess everybody's familiar with that. So there's really no need to probably go through it. You can look through your orders, your list, your account will tell how much you've got in cards. If you see something out that you want, you can actually, and I like this feature, take the camera and scan, a product and see if they have it for sale. Scan their barcode, search augmented reality view of it, and so you can scan many different things in to the app, and it will let you know if they have them on stock and everything. So there's really not, I guess, a lot to tell. You have a wish list. I've been looking at sound bars, office chairs. I've been looking at clock radios, and some different things there. Mac backpacks and some various things. So they show up. So that's one of the big, I won't get into too many details because everybody knows all about them. The other app is the Walmart shopping app. Got the little Christmas package on it for this time of year. And my wife recommended that I talk about this tonight. And so it is really, if you do Walmart at all, this is a must have. And because it's so handy. Other day, she and I were in a drugstore and we saw some kind of vitamins or something. And she said, I wonder if they have them at Walmart and how high they are. So even though we were in another store, up at the upper right corner here, clicked the little barcode, just held it up, scanned the barcode, and it told me that Walmart or local store like had it in stock and what the price was. So it's like $1 cheaper at Walmart. So we said, well, wait. So that's very handy. You can scan competitors' prices while you're in the store. You don't have to type it in, just scan the card. Now, of course, we're in the shop part here. I'll go into the middle part here where it says services. This is what we use the most. Also, you can access the barcode scanner here, as you see. I won't look at all these. But we have Walmart Pay set up. Walmart does not accept Apple Pay, but we have Walmart Pay set up. So if we want to use it, whenever you get ready to check out, we have a card tied to this app. We just open it up, and so whenever I get ready to pay, I'll go ahead and do my thumbprint here and show you. It will scan the card. They put a QR code on the screen, and then you just hold it up and it will pay from it. So that's actually, it's a few more steps than Apple Pay, but it's extremely handy. Let me cancel out of this.
That's kind of, I was going to say, that's kind of interesting because Target, their app, does it the opposite way where it displays the barcode and you display it, they scan that. I actually like this better because, these devices, iPhones are really decent scanning devices, and having that capability built in where it, is looking at a barcode and scanning it, seems to me it'd be a heck of a lot more accurate and also just work better.
Well, my wife Ruby commented that it's gotten so much better. As soon as she holds it up to scan, she can't even hardly get it over their display. It scans it instantly. And you can scan, you don't have to wait till you're ready to check out. You know, you say you've got a couple, 100 items or so. While they're scanning them, the barcode will be up there and you scan it at any time. Now, here's probably my favorite feature is savings catcher. As we go throughout, down at the bottom, Walmart's got an ad for their family mobile and iPhone SE. But as we're going throughout after we buy, if you use this app, you have an electronic receipt. Let's see the results. My wife actually went to Walmart today. Well, let's look at one of the other ones here. She's gone here in Glasgow, Kentucky. And let's look at this app. Spent $107. We actually got back 40 cents that they refund us to a gift card because it found lower prices. It tells us exactly what was found. Some kind of taco rice she bought. A store called Mayer's had it 90 cents instead of $1 that Walmart had. And then you can go on down. If you want to scan your receipt, it shows you everything you bought. You'll see what kind of food we eat. And if you want a more traditional receipt, that's fine. Just hit the upper right corner. And there's an actual, looks just like the paper receipt. And
that is, well, I love that. You know, it's kind of after the fact. Is there a time limit where is it within a week or something? If they find a lower price, that they'll match it?
Well, that it's whatever's on sale that week. Let me try to find another one. We've actually got back already $60-some. Here we stopped. She got back, let's see, $247 at a store here in Kentucky. All right, it's got some different stores. They scanned the ad. She bought some frozen lasagna and saw that Food Line had it for $1.98 cheaper. So we get that money back. It puts it on a gift card in this app, but we don't have to do a thing. I have it set up that if we build up, say, $5 this week, whenever she goes to Walmart again, it'll take that $5 off. And then she had bought some raisin bread, which I love, and it was 49 cents cheap at Kroger. So it scans their ads that week. But you can go back. It makes it so easy to look at your list. Bought bread and various things. You can just see what that you bought. And somewhere here, and if you shop at Walmart at all, I really do think, and as you can see, this goes back, it goes back to last year that you can look through your things. Yeah. And it is that week. So as she has shopped today, the receipt was received, but we don't have the money back yet. And I'm not exactly sure where it's at on here, but it tells me the total that I've gotten back. Okay, your reward dollars right here, I believe is where it's at. Okay, everything's already been claimed, but our lifetime, we have gotten back $67.96, which is, pretty good. Yeah. And that's with us doing nothing, just shopping at the store. As you see, there's a toggle switch, auto redeemed a Walmart Pay or not. If you don't redeem it, it puts it on an electronic gift card, but we auto redeem. And so like where she went shopping today, if she gets $2 back, the next time it will take $2 off the bill automatically. We don't have to do a thing. And it's really a nice app. I mean, it works well. And their pay system is quite nice, I have to admit. And she had seen, and one of the reasons she suggested that I go over this, and one more thing. If you forgot to use this app when checking out and have the old time paper receipt, just hit add a Walmart receipt and you just simply scan the code on it and it will put it in.
Oh, wow.
Put it in.
They thought of everything on that app. I mean,
well,
literally.
It's really a good app. And the reason she had mentioned that would be a good thing to cover tonight, and I see we're a little over an hour, so definitely be my last comments, but Walmart has announced they're going to let you start using this app. As you go through the store, you scan each item with it that you buy, put it in your cart. At the end, it's already checked out. You just walk out with your items. They'll check your receipt, but you do your own checkout as you go through the store, item by item.
Wow.
And so that's going to save a ton of time. I'd actually commented to her some months, maybe a year ago, that I wish I could use the app to scan things as we go through the store, and they're going to start allowing that.
That is absolutely cool because, you know, I'm just hoping that people don't try to, you know, people being human beings tend to try to scam systems and things like that. You know, that some people would forget to scan certain items. But hopefully people are good enough that they will be good. If
Well,
you
you
know what
know,
I mean.
Walmart has an auto checkout where you can do your own checking out, and they weigh each item, and you know the weight apparently has to add up. So I see them in some ways knowing the exact weight of the cart, and if your products weigh too much when you walk out, they know you've got something you haven't scanned. You know, that could be it, because they probably know to the microgram what each product weighs. You know, and if you come out a pound too heavy.
Yeah, there's been some talk that you know, Amazon, of course, bought Whole Foods here a while back, and there was some talk that they were going to try working on a system where they would mark each item. You know, every item in the store would have a RF label on it, and that, you know, it'd be one of those things where you would just literally throw stuff into the cart. You know, or, you know, maybe you just have your bags in the cart and you put it in the bags nicely. And as you roll out of the store, it totals that, you know, I don't know if it flashes a green light saying, yep, you're paid. But it would add all that up and, you know, you just go on your merry way without going to the checker. So, you know, I think there's some cool things going on here. And I tell you, I love that idea that you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, just scan as you go through. Yeah, I mean, I always have my iPhone out when I'm in a store anyway, because that's where I have my shopping list.
Yeah, we do too. So
Yeah.
it would be so handy. And just to give a little bit of a heads up, what I might mention some next week or week to come, our local carrier, Bluegrass Cellular, has just enabled voice over LTE. I think AT&T's had it, but Verizon hasn't, and partners. We can now talk and be on the cell phone at the same time, and it gives us high definition voice. And the difference in sound is stunning. It made a real difference.
Yeah, I think AT&T was, you know, they've had that for a few years now. It was kind of funny, you know, you talk about some of these services that, you know, they provide, and a lot of times you set them up. And one of the things that AT&T had done quite a few years ago, and I was always taking advantage of, was Wi-Fi calling. And that was really important for me because our house is kind of in a hilly area, and it doesn't matter what cell phone company you're on, you get a really, really lousy signal. And setting up Wi-Fi calling on there has just been a lifesaver, because essentially it's just using your Wi-Fi as a kind of a local cell tower. And it really, really helps. Well, I had totally forgotten, you know, for some reason I thought maybe it was going to set itself up on the iPhone 10. And I had a couple of drop calls and things, and I was, you know, I was kind of going, that's, you know, I haven't had one of those in a long time. Well, then I had a notification come up on the screen the other day, and it said, do you want to set up Wi-Fi calling? And I went, that's why it's doing it. I haven't set that up. You know, 2 taps later, and I was up and running again. And I made a ton of phone calls today. Really good sound, everything else. So thumbs up to them for reminding me, at least. Well, I've got one more item that I was going to throw out there, and this will be real quick. For quite a few years now, I've been, because high blood pressure runs in my family. Fortunately, I don't have it, but we've got quite a history of high blood pressure in our family. And so I've been concerned that as I age, I'm going to have a problem with blood pressure. Initially, I had a Withings blood pressure cuff, excuse me, that actually had the cuff, you know, a cable that would go over to a little box, and then that box or excuse me, cable that went over to your iPhone, and you would plug it into the iPhone, and it would act as the box, so to speak, when you were checking your blood pressure. But a few years back, a company called Cardio, Qardio, sent me one of their cardio arm blood pressure cuffs to test. And I immediately dropped the Withings one. These things are great. I mean, it's a box about maybe about that big and about maybe an inch deep. Uses, I think it's four AAA batteries, and which last a long time. But you put them in there, and it communicates with the cardio app on the iPhone, which then communicates with Apple's Health app. So the thing I like about it is you just put the cuff on your arm. There's no cables or anything dangling there, and you have the app sitting there, and it's got this big green button on it. You tap on that, it takes your blood pressure. Does a really, really good job. I just like it because it's well designed. It's fast. It's very, very accurate. I actually brought it to my doctor's office one time and had them take my blood pressure, and then took it with the cardio cuff, and they were identical. The price is about $86 on Amazon. And if you take a look at Withings right now, they also have a wireless blood pressure cuff now, but it's like $179. And I just can't see why anybody would spend that much extra to give Nokia, which owns Withings, actually they're all called Nokia Health now, I think it is, but not worth the extra expense. Highly, highly recommend Cardio Arm, Qardio arm. It's a very good blood pressure cuff, and you can get it on Amazon.
I'm looking it up now, so I can study it later here. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's just fun. I've been keeping those records for quite a few years, and glad to say my blood pressure isn't getting any worse.
Well, that's good news. Yeah, I see it here, 8606. So that sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it works out good. Okay. Well, I think we have probably exhausted our fun for the day. I really appreciate you came up with some absolutely great stuff there, Marty. And well, you've got me going on the Walmart app, because I haven't used it, and I think we're going to be using that a lot more. I just love the fact that they do that price matching.
Well, I mean, it's free money, as you see there. Yeah. We've already earned $60-some. I think my brother and his wife, they were well over 100 because they started using it soon. I mean, that's free money. And they do all that. You don't have to run around town. Oh, Kroger has this for $1 cheaper. Walmart scans the ads, and they'll give you the difference automatically.
Nice.
So that was my wife's suggestion. So you can thank her for that tonight.
Well, I tell you, we're going to have to... We're going to have to pay both of you one of these days if everything.
I'll share mine with hers, my pay.
Well, I'm just going to kind of throw out a comment there. We'll probably be going to a begathon one of these days on Apple World Today. We have a Patreon way of getting support from people who read the website and watch the podcasts. And over the years, that's just kind of declined a little bit at a time. And it's kind of gotten to the point that we need to prime the pump, so to speak, again, and see if we can get things going again. And maybe if that happens, we can, actually throw some money in Marty's direction.
I'm fine. I like being a volunteer. I have no pressure.
It's a good point. You don't have to, meet a deadline or anything. Right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us for episode 30. Hard to believe we've made it, but episode 30 of AWT TV. We'll be back next Tuesday night, and that'll be December 12th. for another hour or more of fun. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, please do so. If you like the show. If you don't like the show, please subscribe anyway, because you can find out when we're going to be doing other things as well. And be sure to give us a thumbs up, if you do like the show, because that gives us all that much more cred, so to speak, with potential viewers. And also, go see the website at AWT, or excuse me, Apple World Today, appleworld.today or appleworldtoday.com. And from Pippin here, Pippin says, "Thank you for watching." He's kind of a crazy animal. At least he's not mewing now that I've gone to the basement here.
And your flat cat, not Pippin, but the Category 5 cable, Cat 6, I guess, is perfect tonight. No, nothing, you know.
Yeah. So, once again, thank you for that. You know,
you're welcome.
For $15, I mean, I was able to, really, well, and I'm glad I finally kind of moved down to this area, because I've got this virtual background here, which I'll have to change one of these days. Maybe see if we can get a nice
Christmas. Put a nice winter scene behind you.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have Alaska or something.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Well, everybody have a great week. Thanks again, Marty, and we shall see you next week.